Right now at noon, the man accused of murdering 5 women in the Portland area is set to be arraigned on a new murder charge this afternoon. Plus,
I mean, we shouldn't be, it's inhumane to be sending people out on the street that don't belong out there.
major admission changes are coming to Oregon Psychiatric Hospital. Why they're letting some defendants facing less severe charges to be released after just 6 months. And then Portland State University pushes ahead with a $70 million project that they say will help breathe some new life into downtown. And later, 2 high-profile primary races in California are still too close to call. Your news at noon starts now. Thank you for joining us here at noon. I'm Blair Best. Our top story, a suspected serial killer is expected to be arraigned on a 5th murder charge in just about an hour. Today's hearing is in connection to the murder of 22-year-old Ashley Real, whose body was found in rural Clackamas County roughly 3 years ago. Prosecutors indicted Jesse Calhoun last week. Calhoun is already charged with the murder of 4 other women: Charity Perry, Bridget Webster, Joanna Speaks, and Kristen Smith. Last year, Calhoun also wrote to KGW from prison claiming that he had been wrongly accused. We'll be in court this afternoon and have the update coming up on the news at 4. Well, the Washington County Sheriff's Office is worried about a sex abuse suspect that he may have more victims. 53-year-old Jacob Mendez Sr. is accused of sexually assaulting a child in Cornelius over the past 10 years. Detectives say they have reason to believe there may be more victims that haven't come forward. In addition to Cornelius, Mendez also lived in Hillsborough, Astoria, and Vernonia. And a reminder, if you or someone you know is a survivor of sexual assault, help is always available. And one place to start is the National Sexual Assault Hotline. The number is right there on your screen, 800-656-4673. Well, a federal judge is adding new limits on admissions to Oregon Psychiatric Hospital. The ruling will limit that option to the most serious cases, felonies like assault, murder, and rape, which means defendants facing less severe charges now have fewer options, and they could be released before getting treatment. The order also restricts extensions of a patient's stay at the hospital, meaning that violent offenders could be released after just 6 months. The state hospital is in Marion County, and leaders there are critical of the judge's ruling.
That causes a public safety problem, and it also is a challenge for those people. I mean, we shouldn't be, it's inhumane to be sending people out on the street that don't belong out there.
The goal is to get Oregon back in compliance with a federal order that requires mentally ill defendants to move from a jail to the state hospital within 7 days, which has been a decades-long problem in the state, with Oregon raking up more than $3.7 million in fines due to non-compliance. And we're continuing to follow the Kinney Ridge fire burning southwest of Detroit Lake. So far, it's burned about 6 acres in a hilly and rural forest area. Crews on the ground now have lines set up around 20% of the fire to try and stop the spread. Helicopters are also dropping water, and officials believe the fire was human-caused, but how it started is still under investigation. And as we get deeper into wildfire season, officials in the Tri-County area have released new evacuation maps, allowing people to check their addresses for the safest evacuation route. Now, this comes after some hard lessons from 2020. When there were 6-hour traffic backups when people were trying to leave Malala. Disaster managers and firefighters say having these new specific evacuation zone maps means faster communication among dispatchers, police, and fire crews. Plus, people can learn what roads are best for an evacuation.
What we see a lot in these wildfire events is, our cell phones are overloaded. The cell phone towers aren't getting the data to the phones. So being able to know your bearings and be able to get out is pretty key.
Emergency crews also want to remind people of the Ready, Set, Go alert system. Level 3 means go now. Level 2 is be set with bags packed. And Level 1 is be ready and have a plan for if the fire moves closer. Okay, turning to your weather headlines this afternoon with this live look from our Veterans Home Skycam out in the Dalles. And you might not be able to see it, but it's getting pretty windy out there. Let's bring in meteorologist Chris McGinnis for more on what you can expect today.
Yeah, good afternoon, Blair. Big change in air mass from yesterday, and with that comes some gusty west winds through the east end of the gorge, and so that part of the region actually under a wind advisory, specifically Klickitat County, so up towards Goldendale. Not specifically including the Dalles, but you're going to notice the wind there as well. West winds whipping from Hood River out towards the Dalles, Goldendale, Arlington area on the order of about 25 to 35, maybe 40 miles an hour throughout the rest of this afternoon. So breezy and a lot cooler on that side of the state as well, but really especially cooler here west of the Cascades. The clouds have moved in. We have squeezed out a few light rain sprinkles here and there. In fact, radar actually showing some steadier rain right now up into northern portions of Columbia County and then up towards the Kelso Longview area and west towards Cathlamet. So be on the lookout for those, again, farther up the I-5 corridor. Most of the stuff in the Willamette Valley not reaching the ground, but what is very noticeable when you step outside is that we are a whole 15 degrees cooler approximately than where we were yesterday at lunchtime, where we currently sit at 67 degrees at the airport. So lots of clouds, one or two widely scattered sprinkles, and a few sunbreaks as we go towards the late part of the afternoon. Blair, we were 88 yesterday. Today we're going to be lucky to get to about 72. Sunshine, though, does return as we go into Thursday. We'll look at that. And 50-50-ish forecast going into the weekend with some rain. More on that in just a bit.
Okay, we'll see you soon. Well, Portland State University is moving forward with a major downtown development project that could reshape the future of performing arts in Portland. The school has announced a partnership to build a new hotel and conference center, all part of a larger plan that also includes a proposed new Broadway-style theater. Corey Johnson has more.
Well, this project has a price tag of more than $70 million, and PSU leaders say it's about more than just buildings. University leaders say it's about bringing more energy, events, and people back into downtown Portland. And Portland State University says it will partner with Colas Development Group to build a 150-room hotel and conference center downtown. The project is part of a much larger performing arts and culture center development, one that also includes a proposed city-owned 3,000-seat Broadway-style theater venue. PSU first announced the idea back in 2023 as part of discussions about replacing the aging Keller Auditorium. The city has started reevaluating the future of the Keller Auditorium after learning the 109-year-old building would need major seismic upgrades to better withstand a large earthquake. Last year, city council members moved forward with a two-venue strategy to help avoid losing revenue during any possible Keller renovations. One study released earlier this year finding the PSU planned performing arts center could have a greater impact economically than a renovated Keller Auditorium, while also suggesting the region may not have enough audience demand to support two Broadway caliber venues at the same time. Now keep in mind, city leaders have not made any decisions as of yet. They're still deciding what Portland's future looks like in the long term when it comes to performing arts, and recommendations are expected to come in the coming weeks. Back to you.
Well, help is on the way for people facing eviction in Multnomah County. The city of Portland is putting $5 million towards emergency rent assistance. Now, this effort is expected to help about 1,000 households. Multnomah County will be in charge of handing out that money through its Department of Human Services. $4.5 million will go towards rent assistance, but the remaining $500,000 will pay for administrative expenses. So, who qualifies? Well, you must be a resident of the city of Portland and have a household income at or below 65% of the area median income. And for a family of four, that's around $83,000 a year, according to city data.
I really do believe people are struggling and they just literally couldn't afford this.
Okay, that's what Clackamas County Chair and former Sheriff Craig Roberts had to say after the county's public safety levy failed during the May primary. If passed, the measure would have cost the average Clackamas County homeowner an extra $60 a year. Well, now commissioners are working to learn why voters said no way. Yesterday, they spent 45 minutes talking about next steps for the levy, which voters approved 4 different times over the past 2 decades, until this year.
I talked to people before this last one and I asked them how they voted and they said no, and I go, really? And they said, I can't afford it. I just can't afford it, right? They voted their pocketbook.
The levy is staffing for the most part.
Yeah.
It is our body-worn camera program, but it is 92 positions across the jail, investigations, patrol.
Okay, so the county is hiring a contractor to do some polling. There's also talks about a town hall to try and stress the importance of the levy to the community. And now it appears round 2 of the levy will be on the November ballot, but commissioners are still trying to decide how much it could cost people.